Hey guys, let me know if you can hear me. And let me know in the chat where you're from. And I'm going to try and see if I can hook it up to Instagram Live too. Can you guys hear me? Hey. So guys, I totally screwed up this live stream. So there was a link up before. But like it was asking me to like add a streaming service, so I couldn't go live on that link. So I'm gonna delete that one. And you guys, hey, New York, Mexico. I wish I could like see you guys. Victoria from New York. All right, so I think I need to like go in and delete the other one because I don't want people to like be confused. Or I just made it private, so. Okay, can I ask one of you a huge favor? Can one of you guys go on my page and see if the other live that I put up before is still up there or if it just shows this one? Because I don't want people to get confused. Ah! And then I might try and do an Instagram live at the same time. Netherlands, Dallas, super cool. Bonjour, bonjour. Oh, Randy, that's my sister's name too. Oh, it's just this one? Okay, perfect. I didn't want people to get confused. Oh, you guys are the best. Literally like 2 seconds before this, I was like, what is happening? Story of my life. Okay, you guys are literally the best. I was gonna try and go live on Instagram too, but because I haven't gone live on Instagram in a while, but it might be a little tough, but let's see. Sorry, bear with me, guys. Ça va et toi? Paris next week. That's awesome. Okay, sorry, I'm just pinning this on. Okay. I think I got it. I think your girls got it. Okay. Hey guys. So for those of you on IG, I'm doing a live Q&A right now on YouTube. And I figured I'd just go live on Instagram too. So I'm probably going to be looking at the YouTube screen for the most part, but wanted to show you guys some love too. Okay, I'm going to try and do it like that. So on IG, if you guys have questions, put them in the question box. I already have some like questions that people sent in, but I'm trying to do both. Sorry, guys. I feel like I'm just like all over the place right now. Brazilian. Did you go to brunch today? Yes, I absolutely did. Do you plan on, that's a question that someone has asked. Ooh, the questions are rolling in already. Let's see who's on IG. Okay. Israel. Okay, so the way I'll have this live work today is first I will go through some of the questions that you guys sent on like just through like IG, the YouTube community page. I'm going to try and get through those ones first and then take your questions. So we're going to do it that way. And for those of you who are new here, I'm Tiff. Sorry, I forgot to do my little introduction, but I'm Tiff. I'm an American living in Paris. I've been living here for about 3 years now, and my channel is really dedicated to helping you guys move abroad, navigate life abroad, share some of the life lessons that I've learned here, all of that fun stuff. And it's been a while since I've done a live. It's definitely been a while, and I thought that it was about time just because of everything that is our world right now. So one, wanted to check in on you guys. So first question I have for you guys is, how are you doing? How are you guys doing? Before I even get into any of this, because I know that there is a lot going on. I know that you guys live all over the world. So let me know how y'all doing. Oh, going in a couple of years, next year. And hey, friends on IG. Hello from LA. Ready to leave the US. I feel you. Bonjour from Proland. I'm great. Ooh, you found another job during the pandemic. Kudos to you. Erin. I'm alive, studying to get into grad school. Send a lifeboat. We are ready to go. Ooh, Paris next month. Okay, cool. So it kind of sounds, some of you guys are good. Some of you guys are kind of trying to get out of the US. I can't wait to leave. Yeah, so the other, you know what? I might just make it unlisted. I messed up with the other one, guys, the other link to this. Bonjour from Toronto. I'm just gonna make it unlisted so it's not confusing. It's been stressful. I feel you. And I've been having ups, downs, and all around town, so I feel you. Cuckoo from New York. Cool. So thanks, guys, for just keeping me posted on how you guys are doing. But now, I guess, getting into the questions. So I've gotten so many questions, of course, a lot on, what's going on in France right now, a lot around voting, because we know in the US there's a huge election coming up, making friends and adjusting. A few of you asked questions about just like being a YouTuber, how I started my online presence, which is interesting. Let's see, general Paris questions. So we got a lot to cover. So let's do it. Y'all ready? I'm just gonna put this a little bit lower so you guys over here can see me. I'm trying to get myself situated. Okay. Cool. All right, let's go. So I got a handful of questions around what's going on in France right now. Like, well, Paris. I can only really speak for Paris. But is Paris back to normal? How is the situation with COVID? Are there any restrictions that are being lifted? What's the allure of living in Paris? Is it the same after COVID? So you guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Life here is still not 1,000% normal. It is not. I mean, gratefully, we are not in a situation as bad as the United States, but we still have to follow certain rules. So for example, whenever I get into an Uber, I have to wear a mask. Usually in grocery stores, we have to wear a mask. And as of, I think, just this past week, because there have been a little bit of a little bit of spikes in cases. They did just release a statement that basically shares the areas in Paris where you do have to wear a mask outside. It honestly was not mandatory before, but I think as of just last week, there are certain areas in Paris where you have to wear a mask outside just because it's very crowded, like the touristy areas, like Champs-Elysees and things like that. There are certain areas where you do have to wear a mask now outside. But honestly, like our lockdown was lifted on May 11th. And as you guys probably know, our lockdown was super, 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 super strict. So we were on a 3-month lockdown, and I'm telling you guys, like, if we wanted to leave our house, we had to have a signed document with us, like with our birth date on it, that also gave the reason as to why we were leaving the house. And it was either to exercise, go grocery shopping. I think there were 2 other reasons. I can't remember what they were, but like it was legit. Like it was very, very serious. So our lockdown lifted on May 11th. Things slowly started to open back up. So I think it was like the beginning of June where restaurants opened up for outside seating. And then towards mid-July, they allowed us to start dining in. Gyms started opening back up. Movie theaters started opening back up. So things are very open here. Like I think everything is pretty much open here in Paris. It's just that like you have to wear a mask in certain establishments, especially when you're going to a grocery store. When you're going shopping, like clothes shopping, you have to wear a mask, of course. Restaurants are a bit different because it's like you're going there to eat. So typically the staff are wearing masks, but when we're dining there, obviously, like we're not wearing masks when we're sitting down and eating. In all of the grocery stores, and I think even clothing stores too, there's like a hand sanitization station where you have to sanitize your hands before you even walk into the establishment. So these things still do very much exist in Paris. So it's definitely not what it was before. We definitely still have rules that we need to follow. I just think that it's not as compared to what I'm hearing about like what's going on in the United States, it's definitely not as bad. Like I still feel like I can go out. I mean, me personally, I probably go out maybe once or twice a week, if I'm being honest with you. And usually it's to film. So I'm not out like how I was before. And another thing, I personally am not yet really comfortable taking the subway, which is something very new for me and kind of weird. Like I have not taken the subway since February. So usually when I have to leave, I'm taking an Uber, and that's not sustainable if you have to do that every single day. So I'm definitely not leaving the house as much as I was before, but at the same time, like things are a bit more open. So I hope that answers the question around like what is going on in Paris right now. And actually, guys, I'm in the middle of putting together a really cool video on the state of the pandemic all around the world. I'm so blessed to have so many awesome friends that live in different countries. So I thought it'd be really cool to kind of get them together and for them to share their insight on what the current state of the pandemic is in their country. So I think it's going to be a really cool video. I'll obviously be speaking to France. I also have a friend from Israel, Amsterdam, Berlin, London, India, 2 friends from the US to kind of give you that East Coast, West Coast perspective, and Virgin Islands. I have a cousin that's in the Virgin Islands. So it's going to be a really interesting video, and just to see kind of what's going on in different countries in regards to the same global issue that we're all facing right now. So I hope that answers that question. So the next thing I really wanted to talk about was voting, because a few people did ask this question. So, hey, Tiff, do you know how to vote while living abroad? This is really important. How do you vote? How do you vote for the U.S. president there in this election? Can you? So y'all, for any of my Americans who are watching this right now, living abroad, yes, you can vote in the US election if you are living abroad. So do not let that be an excuse to not voting. I think that this election is super important. Like, we all really need to get our vote in and make sure our vote counts in this. So I personally am registered to vote in Massachusetts because that's my home city. It's where my parents live. And if I'm, or home state, that's where my parents live. And if I'm being honest with you, I haven't been living in Massachusetts since I graduated from college. Since I graduated from high school. So already, like, for all of the elections, because I was registered to vote in Massachusetts, I was already having to do like a mail-in ballot situation to be able to vote within the Massachusetts state. So you guys, for those of you living abroad, you can vote through a mail-in ballot. It is absolutely possible. I've personally been doing it for the past elections just because I wasn't living in Massachusetts. And you can find this information through the town hall of the state or city or town that you are registered to vote in. So you can request a mail-in ballot. So for those of you who are living abroad, please, please, please do this. I already have mine set up, so they know that I'm living in Paris and they can mail the ballot to me. So I'm all set. And I actually want to get a video up, if I can, in the next week, just kind of giving you guys more details on how you can vote if you're living abroad as an American, because y'all, we cannot play around with this election. Like, we really, 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 really cannot. And Hannah Brofman, she, on her IGTV, actually did a really interesting video, just like kind of calling all Americans abroad to vote. And I can't remember what the percentages were, but there are a handful of Americans who are living abroad that I think haven't been voting in the past elections. So y'all, this one is so important. So please vote. Please contact your town hall, your city, your state, request a mail-in ballot, because it's super important. And I will do a video on this in the coming days if I can. I'm going to see if I can get it up. So that's what I can say for that. The chat just kind of like froze. Oh, I love those videos. Okay. So let's see, what else do we got? So a few people asked about, like, what was the hardest thing to do or the hardest thing to adjust to when I first moved to Paris. So, oh, I hope I didn't freeze or anything. Can someone write in the chat? Because I feel like everything kind of paused. Okay, perfect. I was like, okay, cool. So, someone asked, hey, perfect. So someone asked, what was the hardest thing to adjust to when you first moved to Paris? So it's crazy, guys. My 3-year anniversary of living in Paris is coming up on August 27th, which is literally insane. So for those of you guys who are kind of new to my channel, I did move from New York City to Paris in August of 2017. So I literally cannot believe that I've been here for 3 entire years. And when I moved here to get my MBA, and I honestly wasn't planning on being here for so long. Like, for me personally, I was like, okay, Tiff, like, you're gonna go here, get your MBA, and then you're gonna move back to New York City. Like, honestly, that was what I personally had wanted to do. And things just lined up and I decided to stay here. But with that said, I think the hardest thing for me was, I guess, kind of having to adjust to not having my close friends and family around me. Like, in New York, I kind of left a really, really awesome living situation. I was living with 2 of my very best friends. And I think kind of having to up and leave that was really hard for me at first. And of course, a huge adjustment. Of course, the language, which I am still very much trying to become fluent. It is a very hard language. The way of life is a bit different, which I'll probably get into. I think a few other people have asked that as well. But yeah, I think those are the main things, like kind of just picking up and leaving and jumping out of my comfort zone. And for me, moving here with no friends, no family, it was literally just me. And I literally just had to figure it out and make it work. So that was an adjustment in itself, for sure. Because I can definitely say in the other big moves that I made. So for those of you who don't know, I think one of the bigger moves that I've made too is from DC to San Francisco. So I'm a Howard girl. So I went to Howard University. And because of Howard University, I got an awesome job in San Francisco upon graduation. So moving to San Francisco from DC was probably like one of the biggest moves, of course, that I had made at that time. I was super young. I think I was maybe 21 or 22 when I made that move. So and then also from San Francisco back to Boston, and then from Boston to New York. So I feel like I've kind of had training in moving and having to adjust, but I think moving to Paris was such a big move. And of course I moved to get my MBA. So it was also kind of like being back in school too was a huge adjustment, because I think when you go from work life to having to go back to school, it's hard. Like a lot of my friends, and actually a lot of the people in the program in general, had years of working experience too. So they had been out of school for a while. And our first class, it was like, I think like maybe like an hour and a half long or so. And we all were just completely exhausted. Like we weren't used to having to like sit at a desk and focus for an hour and a half straight, like where someone's like talking to you and you have to learn from them. So that definitely was a big adjustment for sure. And then, okay, so with that said, a lot of people have asked too, like, what was the best way for me to make friends? How difficult is to make Black friends in Paris? How did you make friends when you first moved to Paris? So these are all really awesome questions. And also why I stress the fact of if you do want to make this move abroad, whether it's to Paris or anywhere else, I highly, highly, highly recommend going through school, going through work, going through an organization, because it was so much easier for me to make friends because of that. So when I first came here, you know, a lot of my closest friends were from my MBA program, you know, because they were around me all of the time, like we were studying together. And I'm so happy that I did this move in this way, like with an organization, because, you know, you're in the same boat as other people, they can relate to you. And oh my gosh, like some of my best friends to this day are from that MBA program. And then outside of that, so when the MBA program ended, so this was in, oh my gosh, when did the program end? 2018? 2018, yep. So the program ended in 2018, and then off I went to work in luxury beauty here. And there was a period of time where like my super close friends for the program had left to go back to their home countries. And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? But thankfully I had met friends also just through other people here. So, and this is why I also say, like, when you're moving abroad, use your network. Like, don't forget about the network that you have. And one of my best friends in LA was like, Tiff, she works in HR. She was like, Tiff, I just interviewed this girl and she lives in Paris and I told her about you. You guys should totally link up. We linked up and now she's one of my really good friends today still, and she lives in Amsterdam. So for a while, like we were hanging out, and then she introduced me to some of her friends here. So that was another way that I made friends. And when I was working here, you know, I met a lot of other expats. So the company I worked for, it was in the beauty industry. It was a Fortune 500 company, and it was an international company too. So because of that, it was like I was meeting French friends, I was meeting other expats. So I definitely met some really, really cool people from just from working out here too. And outside of that, you know, I know this might sound a little woo-woo, but I'm definitely the type of person who truly believes that like when you're open to receiving, the universe kind of like matches your vibration and presents to you like that thing that you want. So I was so open to making friends and meeting new people and experiencing the culture. And one of my really, really good friends here, who I actually did the Black in Paris live with, I met her so randomly, guys. Like literally she was getting off, no, sorry, I don't want to explain this wrong. So I got off the subway and she saw me and she started speaking to me in French. And I was like, girl, I don't know what you're saying. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, but like, I love your hair. How do you do your hair? And I was like, well, I'm off to the hair salon right now if you want to come with me. And we literally just hit it off and now are like the best of friends. So yeah, I guess I would say when it comes to friends and kind of setting yourself up here, I would honestly just recommend if you are looking to move abroad, come with an organization if you can, with school, with work. I know there are a lot of interesting like teaching programs. I know my friend did one in Spain. I'm not sure if they have one in France just because I haven't been involved. I know some people come here. I think there's, I don't want to like say the wrong thing, but I know that there are like a lot of different organizations where people do come here through. So definitely look into organizations and what you can do so that you're not just kind of moving here on your own without any type of community. But if you are currently living here and looking for a community, Facebook groups have been awesome. Like there are a lot of expat Facebook groups for Paris specifically, for Americans specifically too. So definitely look into that. Okay. And sorry, I see some of you guys asking questions in the chat. Don't worry, I'm going to try and get to these after I get through the questions that were already sent in. Oh, cool. Someone just said teaching assistant program in France. Cool. So you guys can check that out if you're interested. And for those of you on IG, if you have questions, put them in the like the question box sticker, and I'll try and get to those too. Okay. Let's see. What else do we got? What else do we got? Y'all had a lot of questions, so thank you for that. So, so some people have asked, a few of you guys have asked, have you been thinking about going back to the US or another country to live? How long do you plan to stay in Paris? Can you see yourself living in another city? I think, did anyone else ask that question? Okay, so as of right now, I love Paris. I can totally see myself living here for as long as I possibly can. It's been an awesome experience for me. I've been meeting so many cool people. And not to mention, I really want to stay long enough to become fluent in the language. Like I personally think that to really experience a culture, you have to be fluent in the language. I feel like, you know, my world in Paris will just open up so much once I become fluent. And I have a French tutor who's awesome, who I've been working with. We just did 2 weeks intensive for the past, we just did a 2-week like intensive type of program while I was meeting with her for the majority of the week, which is really cool. So it's definitely been tough to learn the language, but I am determined, guys. Like I need to get this language down, and I'm excited to. You know, I really, really want to experience all that is French culture, and I do want to stay here long enough to do that. So right now, Paris is home. I really don't have any plans of moving to the US anytime soon. So that's what I can say to that. And so someone asked, where are some of the places in France that you would like to see and why? And do you plan on seeing other places? So yes, absolutely. Honestly, this was supposed to be the year where I saw a lot more of France because of course, when I was in my MBA, I was traveling a lot with the program. There really wasn't any time. When I was working out here for the past year and a half, it was super intense. Like I really did not have time to pick up and travel. And now I really wanted to use this year to kind of travel, explore France. I'm dying to go to Corsica. So Corsica is actually an island, but it's kind of within the French region. I've heard so many amazing things about Corsica. I really want to visit there. I'm dying to go to the south of France. So many people have told me about the south of France and how beautiful it is and how the pace is even a lot slower. The people are super, super nice there, I've heard. Not that they're not here as well. But I've heard so many great things about the south of France. And I'm just dying to be by a beach, honestly. I'm dying to be by the ocean. I just want to go there so bad. So those are definitely places that I plan on going to. for sure. And I also want to explore more of Europe too, which I also wanted to do this year as well. So we'll see. We'll see, guys. I'm not sure when, because, and this is kind of like a learning for you guys, is anyone that wants to come here, especially from America and just having to deal with expat things, like my visa right now is even like tied up with the French government. So which is why I'm not even sure like when I'll really be able to travel. So right before COVID hit, I was in the process of getting my visa renewed. And then COVID hit, of course, the prefecture, which is the place in Paris who handles like the visa processing. So of course, like now they're super backed up. So I've literally been trying to get my visa renewed since March. We're now August. And for those of you who don't know, in August, literally everyone goes on vacation. And I know a lot of people here in Paris, and I think in France in general, have still kind of gone on vacations, whether it's like little weekend trips or whatnot. So people aren't really here right now. So I feel like it's going to be a minute before I can get my visa renewed. But because I don't really have a valid visa right now, I'm not super comfortable traveling outside of France because I only have a US passport. And I don't know, with everything that's going on in the world, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So definitely want to travel more. But right now I'm kind of limited because of my situation. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Let's see, what else do we got? Ugh, my legs are starting to fall asleep. I'm sitting here cross-legged on this couch. So let's see, what else do we got? Oh, could you explain what visa that you're on? So I'm on a titre de séjour. So I've been on a titre de séjour since I started working here. So that's what I'm on right now. Okay, let's see what other questions you guys got. Yeah, so France does close down in August. A lot, well, because you guys know I love to brunch. So a lot of my favorite like brunch restaurants, like they even have like signs up that say like closed for summer holidays for 2 weeks. Definitely not everywhere, because like we were just out for brunch today. So it's definitely not everywhere, but more often than not, people do try and take their vacations in August. Okay, let's see what else do y'all got for me. A few of you guys asked, do you ever get lonely living by yourself in a foreign city? Did you ever want a roommate? Do you feel lonely in your apartment or just in general? And I personally don't. I mean, I have a boyfriend here now. I've made some really close friends here now. So I really don't feel like I'm alone at all. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm kind of a homebody. So I kind of like being inside and kind of working and doing my thing. But I personally don't feel lonely. I mean, I will say that there was a period like when my MBA ended and some of my super close friends left where I was kind of like, oh no, like, what am I going to do? But thankfully I did still have a support system here and whatnot. Some other really cool friends that were here for sure. But I personally, like right now, I don't feel lonely. I think I have some really awesome people that I have in my circle. And I really do feel like I have a support system here. So because of that, I do not feel lonely. And here in France, here in Paris, I haven't wanted a roommate. You know, I've kind of done the roommate thing for years. And I was really excited to kind of live by myself for sure. So that's what I can say to that. Let's see. Okay, so a lot of you are curious about what I'm up to now. So some of you guys have asked, are you still trying to get a fashion job? Well, I was working in beauty, not fashion, but same difference. Are you just doing YouTube? Are you currently looking for a job, or do you just want to be a full-time YouTuber? Are you happy with YouTube life? Do you miss the structure of a corporate job? Okay. So yeah, guys. So I actually talked about my situation in another video about how I was working out here on a fixed term contract for like the past year and a half, and it came to an end in February. So another thing to note for those of you who are moving out here is that in Paris, when you are going out for a job, you can either get a CDI, which is a permanent contract, or a CDD, which is a fixed term contract. And I'm not gonna lie, I have noticed, especially among my expat friends, that companies do usually like to start you off on a CDD. And it's basically usually starts as a 6-month contract. And if they like you, they can extend it for up to 18 months. So thankfully, mine was extended up to 18 months, but that 18 months did come to an end in February. And at the time, at first I was like, okay, like, do I try and find a job? Do I try and figure things out? And I had started doing YouTube, I think December of 2019, and really liked it. And was like, Tiff, you know what? Why don't you just give this a shot? So that is kind of what I'm doing right now. I've kind of just been using my creativity in this way. And if I'm being honest with you guys, I personally love being able to share my story with you guys and really encourage other people to make this big move abroad. For me, it's been a life-changing experience. It honestly has. And I just think that it's so important. And it doesn't have to be abroad. Like, even if it's moving to a new city or a new state, like, I just think that there's so much that lies in getting out of your comfort zone, which is why this move for me has been monumental, and why I just love sharing my experience with you guys in this way, you know. And I think I won't say a lot of people, but like, I think sometimes what's shown of Paris is like a lot of the glamour and glitz and the touristy things. And I really wanted for my channel just to be an outlet for you guys to see like real Paris, like through the eyes of a millennial. I know that a lot of you guys are millennials, or you know, just kind of getting that like real view of like what Paris is, and, you know, working here and studying here and things like that. So I love sharing with you guys on my YouTube channel. So it is kind of what I'm doing right now, but I also am working on another project, which I hope to be able to share with you guys soon. So more to come on that. So YouTube isn't really like the only thing that I'm doing, but it is definitely taking up the majority of my time. And so someone said, like, are you happy with this? Do you miss the structure? And I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of been, it's been interesting to kind of have to develop my own schedule, develop my own structure. I feel like it's kind of something that I'm still working towards right now. Like, you know, when you have to kind of be your own boss and manage things on your own, it's tough. You know, it can be really tough. And I think that my biggest thing right now is also just getting super, super organized. So that's kind of what I'm working through right now. So it's definitely different, and it's and it's been a lot to kind of have to create my own structure for sure. So thank you for that question. And I guess since we're kind of on this job career type of train right now, someone also asked, marketing in your energy, marketing salaries in Paris versus USA, are they the same, different? So this is a really, really good question, and they are not the same. So for those of you who are looking to move abroad and work, keep in mind that just salaries in general, even outside of marketing, are very different from the United States. They're a lot lower than the United States. So also, if some of you guys have watched my cost of living video, like, a lot of people were commenting like, oh my God, things are so cheap, but the salaries are a lot lower than they are in the United States. So definitely something to keep in mind. Okay. So then I also got some questions around like my YouTube presence and online presence and social media. So I thought that that was pretty cool. So I'll answer some of those. So one person asked, what are you using to film? So I do have a Canon EOS M50. I love, love, love that camera. I've been using it ever since I started YouTube. It's not as expensive as like a DSLR. I can't remember the exact price that it was, but I can link it below for you guys. But it's kind of like I I would kind of say it's kind of like a beginner professional type of camera. And I love it because it has a lot of the settings, but they're all like digitized and you can touch everything on the screen. So it's easy. It's very user friendly. And for me, like I'm not an experienced photographer or an experienced videographer. So for me, it was kind of a really good kind of first camera. Well, I won't say first camera because my first camera when I was living in that other apartment, and all of a sudden they were gone, which if you guys haven't heard that story, definitely check out the how I got kicked out of my apartment video. So after those were gone, or after I didn't have that camera anymore, I got this one because I knew I wanted to do video and I love it. So that's the Canon EOS M50. Someone asks, how do I make my thumbnails? Do I have any YouTube tips? So I make my thumbnails with Canva, which is awesome. So if any of you guys are YouTubers or wanting to do YouTube, Canva is an awesome resource and it's free to kind of create your thumbnails there. And YouTube tips, I would say my biggest tip would be to stay super consistent on the platform for sure. Like I've tried to stay as consistent as possible, but I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard at times. It can be really, really hard just to kind of keep up with the editing. And it's like right now I'm a one-woman show. So it's like I'm filming, I'm editing, which y'all, editing can take a really long time. A really, really long time. So there's definitely like some hustle that comes with it. But I think my biggest tip would be to stay consistent and also niche down in terms of like what you want to talk about and what you want to offer your audience. And always remember the intent behind your channel and what you want to offer to others. And then someone asked, how did I start my online presence? Woof. I'm not sure if you mean like YouTube or Instagram too, but I actually started my social media. I guess I kind of started through blogging because I had a blog in college. And then when I was living in New York, I started to revamp everything. Or maybe it was when I was living in Paris. Y'all, I can't remember. But I wanted to have a blog and I called it the Burgundy Blazer. So I don't know if any of you guys have been here like since the very beginning when I was the Burgundy Blazer. So I was the Burgundy Blazer on Instagram. I also still had my site up, the Burgundy Blazer, because it was really about like fashion and style and things like that. And then once I decided to do YouTube, yeah, we remember Keisha. And then when I started to do YouTube, I was kind of like, okay, my YouTube's going to be more about life in Paris and what I've experienced here. And that name, the Burgundy Blazer, for me didn't really share that message. And so I just decided to go with my name, Tiffanie Davis, instead, because it was kind of less about fashion and style, although it is kind of incorporated, I guess you could say in a way, but it was more about just my life in general and what I've been experiencing out here and how I can help you guys navigate. So that kind of switched. But in terms of how I started, I guess I really started through like fashion and style and blogging and things like that. Okay, let's see. What else do you guys got for me? So I answered those. And already 42 minutes in, guys. I'm going to try not to keep you too long. So someone asked, how long have you lived in Paris? And also, how did you settle in, like finding places to shop for daily essentials, kind of like how to navigate life when you are new, having to make friends. Okay, so I kind of answered some of this already, but I've lived here for almost 3 years now. So 3 years, August 27th. And for how I settled in, so again, guys, like I can't stress enough how important it is to come with a group or an organization, because I really settled in like through my MBA program. Like they helped set me up with a bank account and a lot of the admin tasks. How do I want to say this? So a lot of the admin tasks I didn't really have to do on my own, just because the school helped with that so much. And I think because me and a lot of the other students were kind of all going through this together, we were able to find things together. Like I remember we used to like go in groups to go grocery shopping in the area. So that really helped me so much, which is why, I think I've had a different experience from people who have kind of just up and moved here without kind of having a network or an organization backed behind them. So definitely something to keep in mind. So, okay, I think I answered that question. Hi, Tiffany. Do you think you have a better quality of life in Paris, considering overall health, access to resources, and personal relationships? That's a really good question. Like, I think for me, it's just a very different life to what I was used to in the United States. So for starters, like, I think that the pace here in Paris is a lot slower than what it was in New York City, which is the city that I was living in right before I moved here. So that alone was kind of like if you guys know what I mean. In a social setting, because I will say that the work life is still pretty intense. But I think that here it's like people just like to enjoy life. I think it's less about becoming the best. It's less about the full-on hustle and bustle, or the hustle that I was personally used to in the United States. If they want to take a 2-hour lunch break, they take it. If they want to go on holiday for an entire month in August, they do it. And also in terms of, so I was having this conversation with Keisha, who's in the chat, my French friend that lives here, and also this conversation with my French tutor, just about kind of like the mentality. So, and you guys feel free to chime in on this. Like, I'm more than open to your opinions, but I kind of feel like in the States, and especially me from a young age, it's kind of like we're molded to kind of be great at so many different things. Like, I'm just thinking to me in high school, I was in dance, I was in volleyball, I was in the honor society. Like, I was doing so many things because it's like, to get into college, they wanted a well-rounded student. But I feel like here it's like people are kind of on the path to become what they want to be the best in, like their one thing. So for example, my French tutor was basically telling me, here, if you're an actor, it's like you're the best actor, but you're not also a singer and a dancer. Whereas like in the United States, it's kind of like you're a singer, you're a dancer, you're an actor. It's like you're all of these things, it's like you kind of have to do so many different things, where I feel like here it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to be an actor and I'm going to be the best actor that ever lived. So I feel like that in a way is very different too. Sorry, I guess I'm kind of getting a little off topic to the quality of life, but I think I say this with this question to say that I feel like at times it feels like here they're a bit more, maybe less stressed because they are just focused on one thing, versus sometimes in America, I feel like it's like, we want to be good at this, we want to be good at that, we want to be good at this, we want to be good at that, So I don't know, that's something I can definitely say about the differences. Okay, so I think I answered a lot of the questions that were sent into me. So I'm going to try and answer some of the ones that you guys have. So feel free to share. I'm going to try and look through, and I'm also going to take a quick look at IG. Oh, so some of these I've answered already. Oh, this is an interesting one. What was the process like applying for my international MBA? So that's a really good one. So to apply for my international MBA, and honestly, what I actually encourage you guys to do if you are interested in getting an MBA abroad is to look into the QS MBA World Tour. It's something that helped me a lot, and what really kind of connected me to the school. I'm sure they're not doing in-person conferences right now, but maybe they have virtual events. But I did attend the QS MBA World Tour that was in New York City at the time. They have them all around the world. And I connected with the school there. And through that, I think they actually gave me a waiver for the application fee, which is really nice. And for my school specifically, so I can't say that this is the same for all schools in Paris. And I can't even say that this is the same application process for my school because I'm sure that things have changed. But for me, it involved the GMAT. So I had to take the GMAT. It involved, I think we had to write like 4 essays. We also had to get letters of recommendations, and we also had to do an in-person interview. So the director of the program actually flew into New York City to interview potential candidates in New York, which is really cool. And actually another question I had was like, what do you recommend for people who want to get their MBA too? So this is a perfect question to kind of slide that response into too. But I will say, if you are interested in moving abroad, research, research, research. Like before I came to the school, I knew everything that I could about it. I personally had even visited the school, which was very helpful for me because I'm bold, but I'm not that bold. Like I kind of wanted to check things out and make sure I felt super comfortable before actually committing to coming to the program. So that's what I can say for that. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? I was looking to see, how do you manage? Did you apply? No, I actually only applied to that one MBA program. So ESSEC Business School. That's the only MBA program that I applied to in Europe and of course in Paris. Oh my gosh, you guys, there are so many questions in here. Let me try and get through everything. I'm gonna try. Gonna like try and scroll to the top, I guess. Do I know of anyone coming from the US on a personal visitor visa, not for work or school? I have a visa, but I am being told, sorry, girl, I don't. Yeah, I know that the EU borders have closed to Americans right now. So, I mean, that's honestly the last that I've heard. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure on that one. Do you have a US passport or French? I have a US passport, but I'm able, well, not right now because of my visa situation, but once you are on a permanent like visa, like a work visa or have your residence permit, then you're able to travel but then you're able to travel and basically, I guess, like not have to worry. Did I get my titre de séjour before getting to France or after my MBA? So this was after my MBA. So the way it worked for me was that I came here on a student visa. And then after I finished my MBA, I was put on a visa called, well, I guess not a visa, it's more like a residence permit, I guess you could say, but it's called an APS. So that allowed me to stay and look for work in Paris for up to a year after I graduated. So I'm pretty sure all students who have studied in France are eligible for an APS or APS. So that's what I was on. And then once I started actually working here in Paris, then I was put on to a titre de séjour. So that's how it worked for me. Which arrondissement in Paris do you recommend? Ooh, that's a hard one. There's so many that I love. Like I love the Ninth because they have a lot of awesome brunch places. Guys, honestly, I feel like all of my favorite arrondissements and places to live are based off of where I go to brunch. So the second has a lot of great brunch places, so cool area. The ninth, the 11th is really cool. So the 11th is by Republique. I have a few friends that live there and they love it. And there's just like a lot to do there, a lot of cool bars, a lot of cool restaurants. There's also the 18th, which of course I love. And I would definitely say that the more affordable arrondissements too, I think are the 18th, the 10th, the 9th, the 11th, the 12th, maybe not the 12th. But I would say like those four are the more affordable too, especially if you're coming here as a student. The more expensive are like the 7th. The 7th is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, but it is a bit more expensive. I love it there. I think the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th are also a bit more expensive as well. So just things to keep in mind. Oh, Tiff, I like your videos on YouTube of Black-owned stores in Paris. It was very interesting. Oh, awesome. Yeah, because I don't think, or I don't know if a lot of people know that there are a lot of Black-owned businesses here in Paris, and honestly, some by African Americans. So that one brunch spot that I showed in one of my day in the lives, it's owned by an African American. He moved from New York to Paris, and I really do want to get more Black expats, especially those that like own businesses on here for sure. Because I would love to show you guys like what it's like to kind of develop a business here in France or here in Paris and how they've been able to do that. So there are 2 restaurant owners that I'm currently trying to get in touch with. So definitely more to come on that. Oh, thank you. I think you've done a great job. Thank you so much. There's so much, guys. I'm trying to get through everything. Okay, I do not want this to go for too long, so let's give this maybe another like 15 minutes or so. I have a question about funding for school. Did you go to a program that was able to take US federal loans? So that's a really, really great question. So yeah, in my program, I think the majority of the students were able to do the program just through savings and through the US federal loan system. So for the Americans anyways. So my school did take FAFSA. So my school specifically, I can't speak for all of the schools here, but for my school specifically, they did. How often do I go back to the States? So I try to go back. I feel like I've been going back like at least once or twice a year. I try and go home every year for Christmas. I don't know what's going to happen this year just because of everything that's going on, guys. Like it's just insane. So we'll see. And sometimes I go in the summer just because like everyone in France leaves anyways. I definitely went back last year around this time because my best friend got married. So that was really cool. So usually once or twice a year. Are you or your boyfriend going to watch the soccer match? So he actually just left to go watch the soccer match with his friends. So he is definitely watching that. Cool. Okay, I'm just gonna see what other questions they have on IG. Sorry, I'm like putting my armpit in your face. Hi Instagram. Let's see what y'all have. Oh gosh, there's so many on here too. You guys are the best. I really do appreciate like all the support, you guys sending in questions, and honestly, like you guys really just always are there to support, and I really appreciate you guys more than you could ever know. Let's see. I think I kind of answered that. Ooh, someone said, I've sent hundreds of inquiries about apartments in Paris, but no response after sending applications. Oof, or responses. How do you get an apartment? Oof. Y'all know what my struggle was with the apartment hunt. Sorry, I'm just like scrolling down. So, oof, finding an apartment here. It is tough. I'm not going to lie. It's really, really tough. And I think especially because it's super, super competitive. And I think I shared in another video that a lot of the landlords, they require you to have a CDI, which is a permanent work contract in Paris, which is kind of what I was talking about earlier. You either have to be making 3 times the rent, and if not, have a French guarantor. So I'm not going to lie, it's really, really tough. I personally don't even feel like I have the secret sauce at all, but there are some websites that have been super helpful. So for example, Livestream, which is the application that I found my apartment on. And I love it because it basically like you just put in your requirements, like how much you want to pay. So like, so sorry, I'm like, y'all, I'm like, ugh, today. But with Livestream, you put in like your max rent price, you put in the number of rooms, you put in like just basically all of your requirements for the apartment. And then every day it basically like sends you alerts when an apartment has been posted online that fits that criteria. And they send you, and I think that they pull from like so many different apartment hunting websites in Paris. So it's literally like you're seeing the best of the best from everything. So I highly recommend them. Book a Flat is also another great agency that for me as a foreigner and not having really knowing the language at the time, it was good for me because I was often paired with an agent that could speak English, which is really nice. So definitely look into Book a Flat. There's also Le Bon Coin that has different how do I want to say this? So Le Bon Coin also has offers for like housing and apartments and things like that. So those are what I can say to look into. But unfortunately, like I don't have the secret sauce. I wish I did. I think that finding an apartment here is just really, really hard for sure. Oh, best of luck. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, there are so many, so many. What's my favorite food that I've discovered in France? Y'all know I love to eat. So I can speak for Paris. I've fallen in love with Senegalese food since living out here. And I hadn't really eaten Senegalese food before I came to Paris, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I've discovered so many awesome restaurants. Whileee is definitely one of them. It's also Black owned, which is a great one. So I could definitely say that I've fallen in love with Senegalese food since living out here. Okay. Oh, so for those of you on Instagram, it's going to kick me off in like 30 seconds because I think I can only do live on here for an hour. So I'm going to say bye to you guys on Instagram. And if you want to see the rest of the live, you can hop on YouTube. But I will try and... Okay. Woo, we an hour in. This stuff goes fast, guys. How often do you actually see the Eiffel Tower when you live in Paris? I mean, it just depends. That's actually a really good question because I'm telling you guys right now, like I personally do not see it that much, but just because I don't live around that area. So my very first apartment in Paris was actually in the 15th. So it was walking distance to the Eiffel Tower, so like a 20-minute walk. So I would go there pretty often and just kind of sit and like look at the Eiffel Tower. I also love going to the Trocadero, which for those of you who are coming out here for the first time, the Trocadero gives you like the best view of the Eiffel Tower. But I personally don't see it every day or even every month for sure. Okay, I think I'm gonna answer like one more, you guys. And I hope I got through all of the other ones that you guys have asked me. Will you do Black in Paris Part 2? I think someone else, did I say something about the Black experience here too? So yeah, I actually did an entire YouTube live with my friend Keisha on being Black in Paris versus being Black in the United States. And I have to say, guys, like when I first came here, I definitely felt like super accepted. Like I never really felt like people were judging me because of the color of my skin or anything like that. Like at first, you know, when things were like very new for me. But it wasn't really until I started talking with my Black French friends a lot more about like, you know, what is it to be Black in Paris, that I kind of realized that, yes, you know, racism does still exist here in some capacity for sure. I can say that personally for me, like I haven't experienced like too much of it, but I have noticed certain things. So for example, like there are a lot of Black people that are in Paris, like there are a lot. And especially when I first moved here, I was like, wow, but I had also already visited here, so I kind of knew. But I think for me, what was the most surprising was that I saw so many Black people like walking around and in social settings, but in corporate, you know, I was the only Black person on my team. And I'm pretty sure this holds true for a lot of other people who kind of work in the fashion and beauty industry. So it was kind of like, okay, you know, so yeah, I can definitely say that for sure, that I was surprised at like how many Black people I saw actually living here versus, you know, in corporate settings, at least in the beauty industry. That's the only industry I can speak to because it's the only industry that I've personally worked in. You know, I definitely saw a difference there for sure. But on a daily basis, like I personally can't say that I've experienced anything towards me. You know, my Black French friends have said to me too that like, because you're an American, they also kind of look at you differently too. But that's kind of what I can say for that. But also, if you guys want a more in-depth, if you want a more in-depth kind of understanding of what it is to be Black in Paris, definitely check out that live that me and Keisha did. It's really, really great. We answered a lot of questions about being Black in Paris versus being Black in the United States that I think you guys would definitely benefit from. Cool. How is my French going? It's going. It's tough, but it's going. I have a French tutor now, which is awesome. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it. Trust and believe. Did you like your MBA? Can I list the apartment websites you mentioned? Yes, I can put those in the description for you for sure. Okay, so this is the very last question that I'm going to ask. I'm sorry, that I'm going to answer. So they just asked, did I like my MBA? And yeah, I really did. So it was an international program. People came from all over the world. So it was a luxury brand management MBA. So where they basically teach you how to run a luxury brand or product or service. And I personally loved it just for the international exposure, especially. So with my program, I'm not sure how they're going to do it this year just because of the pandemic and everything. But when I was there in the 2017-2018 school year, we did travel a lot. So we went to Dubai, we went to Hong Kong, we went to Italy, we went to Switzerland, just to kind of understand what the luxury market was in these different countries. And that's personally something that I really, really loved. You know, I did come to the program to get that international experience and, you know, really understand really understand like what it would be like to work in a different culture and how business is managed in a different culture, and work with people from different cultures, which was really interesting. And I definitely think that the program I did specifically definitely set me up for that. Absolutely. Cool, cool, cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. I know that there were so many more questions. So what I might do is try and answer them, maybe like on Instagram stories or something like that, just because I don't want to keep you guys for too long. But thank you so much for being here. I always love doing these lives and really connecting with you and, understanding more about what you guys want to hear about, and also see on my channel, which I guess is a question for you guys, like what else would you want to see on my channel? I feel like lately I've been doing a lot of day in the lives. I definitely want to do a video on the voting process as an American living abroad, just because, again, this election is so important, for my fellow Americans living abroad. Like, you need to get your vote in. So I definitely want to do a video on that. Absolutely. I definitely want to continue doing videos on all things brunch and, just kind of like my life out here. But at the end of the day, like, my channel is really to help you guys, navigate life abroad, for those of you who want to move abroad. And actually, another question for you guys before I hop off is, how many of you guys that are on right now are actually thinking about moving abroad once things open up? Oh, yes, for the election video. Me. Okay. And where do you guys want to move to if you are interested in moving abroad? Hey, so many people. Oh, amazing. Moving in September, super cool. Ah, you guys, this is literally music to my ears. A lot of you say Paris. Girl, I told you your channel is making me want to move. Yes, come on over. Oh, moving to Paris next week. I watch to see how people are around the world. Cool. So I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but for any of you guys who hopped on later, I actually do have a video coming up on the current state of the world in different countries, because I have friends that live all over the world. So maybe that could even help you out in terms of like where you might want to move to. Paris is just one city. I personally have loved it for me. But I think when deciding to move abroad, it's like you really have to pick the city that you feel like is right for you. But I love that so many of you guys are interested in moving abroad. And I'm going to do my best to kind of help you in this journey, because I do want more people to kind of have this experience. I think it's so important to experience another culture. So yeah. Oh, great live, Tiff. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So anyways, guys, I'm going to hop off. But thank you so much for being here with me today, holding space for me, for watching my videos. Again, it's been so much fun to interact with you guys, and keep your questions coming and everything. You feel so you like Paris? Yeah, I really do. I really, really do love Paris. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll, of course, have another video up next week. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you and talk to you soon. Bye, guys.